Just 9 months into Trump's new term, we have already seen the effects of his pressure campaign on the news media. This week, CBS named its new leader under the Ellison empire, Bari Weiss, the somewhat controversial founder of the Free Press. Meanwhile, the first American pope showed his support of journalists this week, saying that their work stands as a barrier against those who seek to create divisions through, quote, the ancient art of lying. The nightcap is still here. Oliver, you've been following the changes at CBS, but I want to first share with what sort of legendary former CBS News anchor Dan Rather said on his Substack, quote, the hiring of Weiss signals to everyone, especially to the man in the Oval Office, that CBS is no longer independent, but under the tutelage of a conservative billionaire. Explain all of this to us, your reaction to this and really what's happening there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to unpack here. I think, in short, you're seeing David Ellison, who's now in control of Paramount, which is the parent company of CBS, make a number of decisions that certainly look like they are trying to appease the man in the White House, whether that is canceling Stephen Colbert's show, whether that is hiring a conservative ombudsman who's going to be the one who reviews complaints of bias, and now putting Bari Weiss in charge of CBS News. She's the editor-in-chief. For people who don't know her, she's an anti-woke, anti-DEI, very pro-Israel opinion writer, and that's what she's been for some time. She went out and founded this opinion website called the Free Press after she left the New York Times and wasn't really friendly leaving there. But now, you know, she's amassed somewhat of an audience on Substack, and now David Ellison's bought this Substack and put her as editor-in-chief. The thing about this is people who defend her will say, yes, she's someone who criticizes Donald Trump, too. She's not like a MAGA propagandist, and I think that's accurate. But I think that the reality that she paints for her audience is also not what we see today, in that she talks about how she wants to apply equal scrutiny to both parties, as if, you know, some liberal who's tweeted something a little edgy or whatever is the same as Donald Trump assaulting, free speech principles, warping the DOJ and the FBI, launching trade wars, sending the military into cities. These things are not equal, but the way Bari Weiss and the Free Press often portray America, they are. If Zoran does something that they, think is a little bit out there, they put that on the same scale as Donald Trump sending the military into U.S. cities.
Correct. Both sides.
But the thing is, John, CBS is hardly some super liberal news outlet.
Exactly.
Like, CBS maybe have gotten a little sleepy, maybe a little tired, not that relevant to younger people. Great. But it's hard. You can't tell me that, that's CBS. Come on now.
I mean, what's more awkward, being a career journalist at CBS and this is your new boss, or being a career general in the armed services and it's Secretary Jägermeister? But, I mean, Bari Weiss has run against DEI for so long. DEI exists to keep unqualified white people from getting jobs, and look at the gig she just
Okay, but here's the thing. This is not necessarily new. We have that famous recording in 1972 when President Nixon repeats the phrase, the press is the enemy, to Henry Kissinger, right? So an administration, right? So J.D. Vance is doing what Spiro Agnew did decades ago. So everyone who's saying this has never happened before, this is unprecedented, it's not unprecedented. Is it that social media and the environment that we're in is just supercharging all of it?
It is supercharging all of it. I have a little different take on Bari Weiss. I mean, I say CBS needed a shot in the arm. They needed to shake it up. They needed something different. Let's give her a shot. Let's not prejudge her. And I know a lot of people have a lot of respect for her, don't necessarily agree with her, but listen. I mean, Ellison got the money. He bought it. It's his show. Give him a shot.
But that's the issue. Right. The issue is Ellison bought it and made it into what he wanted to be. We have these institutions. Look, laying my cards on the table. I used to work at the Washington Post, right? I was on the opinion side of the Washington Post. I took a buyout earlier this year, right? You don't need to thank me, right? Like I get this, right? Like, I understand this space. But also, this is the difference.
When everybody buys a media outlet, they get to put their stuff 100%.
On it. That's absolutely true. Yeah. But the difference here is that you have these massive institutions. You have CBS News. You have the Washington Post, which have built power, have aggregated power over time in service of holding power to account. And
but we don't know that that's going to change, do we?
Yeah, we kind of do. I mean, yeah, we kind of do, right? I mean, like, look what's happening at CBS, right? Like, the very obvious mandate from CBS is to change the way you're approaching things. And look at what happened with 60 Minutes even before Bari came in there, right? Look what's happening at the Washington Post. Look how Jeff Bezos wants to change the opinion page of the Washington Post. I love the Washington Post. It was there a long time.
And every day the Washington Post is still doing great reporting.
100%, absolutely. As I just said, I love the Washington Post. But it is obviously the case that Jeff Bezos changed his political mind and that is now being reflected in the newspaper that he bought. Like, that's very obviously the case. And we're seeing other institutions similarly caving, in part because they feel as though there is this massive mandate out there that doesn't really exist, but does seem to exist in part because of social media.
And Bari Weiss knows that everyone's saying this about her, so the pressure will be on her to prove that she is not biased.
She's in a very tough spot.
Yeah, but I think she will. I mean, look, Bill Maher caught hell for having dinner with Trump, and he's been vicious against Trump ever since on the show. So the burden will be on her to show that she's not bought and paid for.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Donald Trump will at some point criticize her, and that will be the best thing that will ever happen to her, because she can say, look, I'm being criticized by the right, I'm being criticized by the left. That means I'm doing my job fair. And that's actually not a good barometer for whether you're doing your job, in a fair way. But that is certainly how they will portray it.
Well,
just like when Donald Trump attacks Fox News, they say, look, we're doing real journalism. The president's not even happy with us.
If you subscribe to the Donald Trump all press is good press, there has been more talk about CBS News in the last 10 days than I would argue in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to ask you, obviously, you are a comedian. A lot of major comedians like Bill Burr, like Dave Chappelle, and others decided to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival funded by the Saudi government. What is your take on this?
I mean, they have every right to go take that bone saw money, and we have every right to make fun of them for doing it. I love a lot of the comics who are doing this. Jessica Kirson is the only one so far to say that she's going to donate all of her money to charity for it because she
After being criticized.
Well, yeah, she was criticized, but she also said she went there as a queer Jewish woman and thought she'd be able to do material about that. So, and she's a very ethical, funny person to begin with.
And she didn't get to do that material?
She said she didn't get to do that material.
Well, because
so she's donating her money.
Well, she made some joke about the two men walking out of the audience going to that they were gay.
But again, regardless of it, these comics, these artists are allowed to take this money with little bits of bone saw attached. We're allowed to make fun of it.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to see them when you get home.
Exactly. And, they're going to be talking and defending themselves against this for a very, very long time. They were paid, the top talent were paid $1.6 million per set. Lower level guys, Tim Dillon said, were being offered $375,000. That's enough to make you forget about 9/11.
But if their audience, if their fans don't care, then it might not matter to them.
It's not going to matter. No, this will follow them around. But yeah, and maybe some of them will learn a thing or two about it. But I'm not going to criticize them for it. It's a gig, and I wouldn't have done it.
I just don't know how a comedian, you make your entire career off of being able to say whatever's on the table.
We're brave truth tellers when it's COVID. Yeah. when it comes to women being property, suddenly let's get on board.
I just don't understand how you can go then and basically be censored and take a Saudi paycheck from the people who actually oppress free speech. Like, the comedians are all about free speech.
Yeah.
The Saudi government oppresses free speech, and I've seen a lot of the comedians say, well, I wanted to perform for the people. No one has any qualms with performing for the people there.
Perform for the people.
But the people if you support the people there, maybe don't support and take a check from the government actually oppressing those people.
Yeah, great comedians speak truth to power. They don't tiptoe around power for a tip.